everyone, and welcome back to the Fortitude Fix. I hope you're well. My name is DaShanna, and if you are new here, please press that subscribe button. I would love to have you here as a part of the family. And if you are joining me for another video, it is so good to see you. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all of the things that no one ever told me about being married. So if you're interested in hearing what I come up with, go ahead and stay tuned. My husband definitely knows that I'm making this video and is in full support of the things that I'm talking about, and I just wanted to share that with you, but let's get into the video. The first thing that I want to share is that marriage is not always 50-50. Like, sometimes a person can step up a little bit more and the other person, maybe they just aren't able or capable or knowledgeable in order to do that. And so one person might have more of an upper hand than the other person in a given situation. And then if the subject or the topic or the situation shifts, then that dynamic can shift as well. And now that other person has, you know, maybe 70%, the other one has 30. So I kind of thought that it would be super half and half all the time, but it's definitely not. The next thing that no one told me before getting married is that things just don't belong to you anymore. Like your charger, the cord and the little box, your bed, the bathroom, leftovers. The next thing that no one really sat me down and talked to me about before getting married was being financially yoked. And I know that we hear often as Christians about being equally yoked, and it's really just not believing in the same thing and having the same values. It's also when it relates to money. And people's money mindset. And so I think that's something that I would have liked to hear more about before getting married, is being financially yoked is extremely, extremely important. The next thing is sacrifice. No one explained to me the level or the amount of sacrifice that it takes being married. And I don't mean like, oh, I want sushi. Okay, I want pizza. All right, fine, we'll go and get pizza. I'm sacrificing my sushi. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the literal definition of what it means to give something up or sacrifice something. That means that it's something that's important to you, something that you hold very dear, a value of yours, and you are sacrificing that for the greater good, for something that is bigger, something that means more than that one thing in itself. And so I don't have a specific example that I can share with you right now, but it comes up for me in emotion and the way that I do things. And there's a certain way that I do things and the reason behind it, but for my husband, sometimes it makes zero sense. And it's really not worth it to kind of go to battle over this. It's kind of like, well, why do I do that one thing? And is it the best way to do it? You know, if not, then hey, I can let that go and adopt a new way of doing something. And it's happened time and time again on my side and on his side. And so I think just the amount in real life examples of sacrifice that happen and that take place when you're married is just something I don't know if I would have ever been ready for, but it's definitely a learning experience, and I think that's something that we should be talking about a lot more too. Something that no one talks about before getting married is birth control. Not everyone wants to have kids. Not everyone can have kids. And not everyone wants to have a kid as soon as they get married. And so if that's the case, and if we are engaging in sexual activity as a married couple, and as Christians we are told to wait for marriage until that happens, but no one ever talks about birth control. And especially as folks are getting, you know, into their careers, especially here in the Bay Area, it's really expensive to live and to raise a family. And maybe that's just not in the financial cards for them right now. And so what are we talking about? Like, how do we prevent pregnancy if it's not time? And I feel like my experience and my education helps me to make those decisions. However, some people don't have this information. It's not what they study. It's not their background. And so I think being able to talk specifically about preventing pregnancy and birth control is important for those who seek that or believe that's right for them and their family, because it's kind of implied, I guess, when you get married that the next thing is to have kids. And for some people that happens. Like, I know multiple people, literally they just looked at each other on their wedding night and got pregnant. However, that's not how it is for everybody. So having a conversation about what that looks like and coming up with a decision for the two folks who are married. But I do know that that's something that is like never talked about. Birth control. Another thing that really isn't talked about, and something that nobody told me before getting married, is that you are responsible for your own reprogramming. There are things that we have learned, and there are things that we need to unlearn, and we ourselves are responsible for that work. And I realized very early on, my husband is not my therapist. My husband is not my dad. My husband is not my pastor. And so it gets kind of hard when you express things, but your husband, at least mine, is a fixer, right? So it's like, you're saying this stuff, how can I fix it? But to be honest, sometimes, and most of the time, it's not their job to fix that about you or about something that you're going through. And so I think if we want to deal with some past issues, some traumas, reframing of our mind, like, that is literally up to us as the individual. It's not our spouse's job. It's a lot of pressure, and it can weigh on the relationship. Last thing that I would share with you all today that no one told me, or no one really had a conversation with me about as it relates to being married, is that your love language is not their love language. Typically, there are going to be different ways in which we give and different ways that we receive love. And so if we are giving love in the way that we want to receive it, but that person's love language is different, they are not going to receive it in the same way that we would, for example. So the whole, hey, I did this for you, I did that for you, that might be really important for you, right? Acts of service, but for them, it's really just about the quality time. All right, and that is all that I have for this video. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you can see more of my content. Click that bell so that you never miss a video from me moving forward. And as always, I thank you so much for watching. I'll see you right back here next time. Remember to always fill your cup. Bye.